Welcome to the World of Biology through Jaguar classes from Jagran Public School, Noida. In today's this video lecture of chapter Kingdom Animalia of class 11th, I will revise the whole chapter. This is the last part of this chapter, Kingdom Animalia, and in this we will do the overall revision of this chapter. And basically, as we have studied in earlier class, the animal kingdom is divided on the basis of one, level of organization, the another criteria, symmetry, on the basis of coelom also, which is one of the criteria to classify the animal kingdom, segmentation, and main basis of classification that we have studied on these 5 important points, as well as we will revise and have a quick recapitulation of all the 11 phyla of the kingdom Animalia. And after today's class, the learning outcomes that we are expecting by covering the whole chapter, the knowledge based learning outcomes in which you will know and understand with a recapitulation of basis of classification, level of organization and symmetry, diploblastic and triploblastic organisms on the basis of germinal layers, and classification of organisms into different classification of animal kingdom into 11 phyla, and skill based learning outcomes that we are expecting after completing this class. You will be able to understand the problem associated with classification of organisms, and you will also able to understand broad classification of kingdom Animalia based on the common fundamental features, and you can also compare the chordates and non-chordates as well as vertebrates and invertebrates. Competencies that we are expecting can be developed or would be developed in you, that is collaborative learning, critical thinking, problem solving, and character building, as well as communication and citizenship. These are the competencies we are expecting to develop after covering. Now let's start our today's class. This class in which we will end up our this chapter Animal Kingdom. In today's class, we will have a quick recapitulation in a brief manner of overall animal kingdom. Now, as in the starting of this chapter, we have learned about the basis of classification of animal kingdom. These are the 4 important features on the basis of which, or the criteria on the basis of which, we have classified the animal kingdom. One is arrangement of cells, that is cellular or tissue or organ level of organization. Second point is body symmetry. On the basis of symmetry, the animals are asymmetrical, radial or having bilateral symmetry. Third point or third criteria is nature of coelom, on the basis of which animals can be classified as acoelomates or coelomates or pseudocoelomates. And pattern of digestive, circulatory or reproductive systems are also we are considering as one of the criteria for the classification of animal kingdom. Here we can consider as open or closed circulatory system. Here you can see in this slide, on the basis of symmetry, poriferians are coming under asymmetrical animals, and that is shown here. The jellyfish or the coelentrates are coming in, showing the radial symmetry. Crab, which is showing the bilateral symmetry. Scorpion, crabs, all these arthropods which are showing the bilateral symmetry. Now come to the next slide to revise the diploblastic and triploblastic classification of the animal kingdom. Means on the basis of germinal layers, animals can be classified as diploblastic and triploblastic. Here you can see a quick recapitulation of the concept triploblastic and diploblastic. Cells are arranged in two germ layers in case of diploblastic type of animals, where external ectoderm and internal endoderms are present, as you can see in this diagram. External ectoderm and internal endoderm is present here. And here in this space, mesoderm is not seen here, but it is a cavity space that you can see that. Cells are arranged in three germ layers in case of triploblastic, where mesoderm in between ectoderm and endoderm with the cellular arrangement you can see here. This is the ectodermal layer, this is the endodermal layer, and in between that that is a mesodermal layer also can be seen in triploblastic animals. After that, we have covered up the coelom, body cavity, on the basis of which also we have divided or classified the animals into different categories. Acoelomate animals, in which platyhelminthes are coming. You can see here the coelom is not visible as such, or we can say that there is no coelom is present in them. Ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm are arranged in such a manner there is no any space is seen in there. This space is the gut region of the animal, and platyhelminthes phylum is coming in this category. The another group on the basis of coelom is coelomates, in which Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata are coming. And here you can see that in these phyla, the body cavity is seen in the clearly can be seen in between the endoderm and ectoderm. That cavity space is known as coelom, and you can clearly see this coelom here on both the sides. And third category is of pseudocoelomates, in which Achelyminthes or Nematoda are coming, and these are known as pseudocoelom because a coelom like structure is seen in the form of pouches. Means there is not an overall coelomic space is there, but you can see that here four elliptical pouches are seen, which are actually giving considered as the coelom. That's why this is not considered as a true coelom, and such animals are known as pseudocoelomates with this pseudocoelom. In phylum Porifera, that was the first phylum of the animal kingdom, sponges are belonging to this. Now, in each phylum, we will quickly revise the overall general characteristic feature. Cellular level of organization can be seen in phylum Porifera. They are asymmetrical on the basis of symmetry. Special system that is present in them is water canal system, in which water enters through ostia. Ostia is the small pores which are present all over the body of the poriferians or sponges, and then that water get into the spongocoel, from where it goes out through the osculum. Osculum is the that bigger one single pore through which water is coming outside. And presence of conocysters collar cells is also one of the special characteristic feature of this phylum. Uh, these cells line the spongocoel cavity in case of sponges. Presence of spicules. Uh, They are, that is also one of the character, and they are hermaphrodite on the basis of sex organs present in them, means sexes are not separate, both the type of sexes are present in one animal only. Fertilization is internal, development is indirect, and habitat is marine. Examples are Cycon and Spongilla, that you can see here also in this slide. And then after that, we have seen the second phylum of the animal kingdom known as Coelenterata or Cnidaria. In this phylum, the two organisms are shown here. One is Hydra, and here you can see that jellyfish is also seen here. Now, the important characteristic feature of the phylum Coelentrates are they are aquatic, mostly marine and sessile. They are showing radial symmetry and presence of nidoblast cells are in them as their defense system, and tissue level of organization is present in them. On the basis of germinal layers, they are diploblastic, means having two germ layers, ectoderm and endoderm. No mesoderm is present there. Gastrovascular cavity is present in them, and they have two different body plan. One is known as polyp, which is a sessile form and reproduced by budding, and the second body plan is medusa, which is a motile sexually reproducing form of the coelentrates, and alternatively they are found in their life cycle, due to which they are following the alternation of generation, and they show the property of metagenesis also. And uh, example is hydra, jellyfish and sea anemone. Now coming to the next phylum, that is phylum Ctenophora. Phylum Ctenophora, which is the third phylum of the animal kingdom, uh, in this phylum there are few species are including. Habitat wise they are marine animals. Symmetry wise they are radially symmetrical, and on the basis of germinal layers we can differentiate them in as diploblastic, and tissue level of organization is present in these animals. These ctenophores have 8 rows of ciliated comb plates, due to which they are also known as comb jellies, and they show property of bioluminescence, that you can see here also, means they can emit the light in dark, and that is known as bioluminescence, with the help of certain chemical reactions which are going inside their body, due to which they can eliminate light. They are also hermaphrodite, means bisexual animals. Fertilization is external in them, and development is indirect. Examples are Pleurobranchia and Ctenophora, that you can see here. And now come to the next phylum after Ctenophora, that is phylum Platyhelminthes, or the phylum of flatworms. They are known as flatworms because of dorso-ventrally flattened body, that you can see in this diagram. One organism is Planaria and the another species is Taenia solium, tapeworm. They are showing the bilateral symmetry as per their longitudinal shape of their body, and many flatworms are parasites. For example, tapeworm and liver flues. While some of them are like planaria are free living in the aquatic or damp soil habitat. This is planaria and this is tapeworm. They are on the basis of coelom as non coming in the category of acoelomates, means no coelom is present in their embryonical development. Organ level of organization is seen in them, and presence of flame cells for osmoregulation and excretion is present in them. They are triploblastic and hermaphrodite, as well as fertilization is internal, and they are showing the indirect type of development. Now come to the next phylum after Platyhelminthes. The next phylum is Asaliminthes, which is also known as Nematoda phylum, and these animals which are belonging to this phylum, known as roundworms as they has a cylindrical body and digestive system that is like a tube in them, open at both ends, starts from mouth and ends in the anus. Alimentary canal is complete. Mostly they are free living, aquatic and terrestrial or parasitic forms. They are showing the bilateral symmetry. On the basis of germinal layers, they are triploblastic, means having three basic germ layers during their embryonic stages have been seen, ectoderm, endoderm as well as mesoderm in between them. They are pseudocoelomates, means no coelom is present in them, or coelom is present in the form of pouches. Uh, Coelom is present in the form of pouches or pseudocoelomate, we can consider them. And sexes separate, due to which one more term is also used, that is dioecious, means two different individuals show or indicates two different sexes in them. Fertilization internal, development direct or maybe indirect in some of the cases. Examples are Ascaris lumbricoides and hookworms. After this phylum Nematoda, we are revising the phylum Annelida, and this phylum is of animals which are living in the habitat aquatic as well as terrestrial habitat. Organ level of body organization is seen in them, and segmented worms, due to which uh, we can say that metamerism is present in them, due to which they are known as segmented worms. And metamers are the segments present in them, as you can see in this earthworm. Also, whole body is segmented, and they possesses lateral appendages known as parapodia, and closed circulatory system is seen in them. Nephridia are the excretory organs which helps in osmoregulation as well as in excretion in them. Earthworms and leeches are included in this phylum. Hermaphrodites, on the basis of reproductive structures, means earthworm and leeches are a hermaphrodite, while nereis are dioecious, means unisexual as well as bisexual, both type of animals are belonging to this group. Now come to the next phylum after the Annelida that we have studied in the chapter, phylum Arthropoda. Arthros means jointed, pod means legs, means the animals with jointed legs. This is the largest phylum in the animal kingdom, as we have already discussed in earlier uh, parts of the chapter. Organ level of organization is seen in these animals. Bilaterally symmetrical body is there. They are triploblastic on the basis of germinal layers. Segmented body and coelomate animals are coming in this group of or this phylum, and they are made up of chitinous exoskeleton. Body consists of head, thorax and abdomen. This is the abdomen part, which is again segmented, and this thorax part, and this is the head part that you can see in this honeybee, and this is a crab. Body divided into three important parts: head, thorax and abdomen, and body is with jointed appendages, due to which they are known as arthropod. Respiratory organs like gills, book lungs, or tracheal system, all three types of respiratory organs are present in them. In some of the organism of this group or animals of this group, they are having gills. In some other, they are having book lungs, like in case of crab, and tracheal system, like in case of class insect. Circulatory system is open type. Excretion through Malpighian tubules and sexes are separate in them. Then we are coming to phylum Mollusca, which is the second largest phylum of animal kingdom, in which soft-bodied animals are seen, and they are often protected by a hard outer shell. Habitat terrestrial or aquatic. Organ level of organization can be seen in them. Bilaterally symmetrical on the basis of symmetry, and on the basis of germinal layers they are triploblastic, and on the basis of presence of coelom they are coelomate. Body is unsegmented with distinct head, muscular foot, and visceral hump. That you can see the soft bodied animal with muscular foot and visceral hump you can see here. And these are the oyster cells, and this is the pila or snail. And these are the oyster cells in which soft bodied animal is present in them. A mollusk has a thin layer of tissue called a mantle that covers its internal organs, and mouth is with a special organ known as radula in this phylum that we have covered. After mollusca, the next phylum is Echinodermata, which is the ninth phylum of the animal kingdom, and they have endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles or spiny body, like in case of that starfish you can see. They are showing radial symmetry in adults and bilateral symmetry in larvae. And they, on the basis of germinal layers, they are again triploblastic and coelomates because of the presence of coelom. Digestive system is complete in them. Presence of water vascular system is one of the important special feature in them, and excretory system is absent in them. Sexes are separate. Fertilization external. Examples are starfish that you can see here, sea urchin, that is this figure, this picture is of sea urchin, and sea cucumber. Phylum Hemichordata, which is the 10th phylum of animal kingdom, and as we know that hemi means half, chordates. They consist of worm-like marine animals, and organ system level of organization is seen here because they are showing half of the characteristic feature of non-chordate phylum up to phylum 9. Whatever phyla we have studied are coming in the group of non-chordates, and this phylum is coming in the category of hemichordate or hemichordata phylum, which is in between the chordate and non-chordates. Organ system level of organization can be seen in the bilateral symmetry and triploblastic and coelomate. Body is cylindrical and it is composed of proboscis, a collar, and a long trunk. This portion is known as proboscis. This is collar, and this long trunk region is present in them. This is an animal of this group that is known as Balanoglossus. Open circulatory system can be seen in them, and respiration through gills. Sexes are separate. Fertilization external. Development is indirect, and examples are Balanoglossus that you can see in this diagram, and both the diagrams are of Balanoglossus, and Herdimania is one another member of this group or this phylum. Now come to the phylum Chordata, and the important chordate characteristic features. Once again we will revise here. Presence of notochord. Central nervous system is dorsal in position, and pharynx perforated by gill slits. Heart is ventral. Post-anal tail is present in them, and it is divided into three subphyla. One is Urochordata on the basis of presence of notochord. Actually, notochord is present only in larval tail, due to which they are known as urochordates. Cephalochordata is another subphylum of this phylum Chordata, in which notochord extends from head to tail region throughout their life. And the third subphylum is Vertebrata under this phylum Chordata, which is known as vertebrata due to the presence of notochord during embryonic period, and then later on it is replaced by the vertebral column or backbone. And now come to the next level, that is after phylum level, there we can study the vertebrata phylum or subphylum into different classes. The class Cyclostomata that we have studied in one of the class of vertebrata, which are ectoparasites, elongated body bearing gill slits for respiration. Mouth is without jaws, due to which they are known as agnatha. Body is devoid of scales and paired fins. They are showing closed circulatory system. Habitat wise, they are marine, migrate to fresh water during spawning, or we can say that during breeding. And examples are Petromyzon and hagfish. You can see in this diagram, that is Petromyzon and hagfish. Then next class is Chondrichthyes, which is also known as cartilaginous fish class, and mouth is located ventrally in these, as you can see here in this shark, and gill slits separate without operculum. Open gill slits are present in them without any covering, which is, and the outer covering which is present in bony fishes is operculum, and that is absent here. Presence of placoid scale is one of the important characteristic feature. Air bladder is absent in them. Two-chambered heart. Poikilotherium means cold-blooded animals. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal type of in these animals, and they are showing viviparous characteristic feature. Now come to the examples. Scalodon, stingray, sawfish are coming in Chondrichthyes class. Now come to the class Osteichthyes. Osteichthyes is the class of bony fishes. Due to the presence of bony endoskeleton, they are known as bony fishes. Body is streamlined. Mouth is mostly terminal in position, that you can see here, and gills covered with operculum, that is a flap-like structure over the gills known as operculum. Presence of cycloid scales is another characteristic feature. Presence of air bladder is also there, and heart is two-chambered. They are also cold-blooded. Fertilization is external. They are oviparous, means laying eggs outside the body, and examples are seahorse, rohu, katla. Rohu you can see here, and this is the fish which is known as seahorse due to its peculiar horse-like shape. And this tail is known as prehensile tail, means curved hooked like tail is known as prehensile tail. Class Amphibia is the next class, and that is coming in, these classes are coming in the superclass the division Gnathostomata, where jaws are present. Amphibia is also coming in this class. Superclass Tetrapoda now we are talking about, and in this Tetrapoda class, in class Pisces we have in superclass Pisces we have discussed about Chondrichthyes and Osteichthyes, and now we are coming to the other superclass, that is Tetrapoda, due to the presence of limbs, and class Amphibia is one of the class of this Tetrapoda having showing dual habitat. Body divided into head and trunk region. Skin without scales. A tympanum represents the ear in them, and alimentary canal, urinary and reproductive tracts open into a common chamber called cloaca in them. And aspiration by gills, lungs and through skin can be seen in this group class, and heart is three-chambered here. These are also cold-blooded, sex is separate, and they are also laying eggs, due to which they are also called oviparous. Examples are frog, salamander, toad and hyla. Now we are coming to the second last class of the superclass Tetrapoda, that is class Aves. The general characteristic feature of this class is presence of feathers. They possess beak, four limbs modified into wings. Skin is dry without glands except some oil glands. Endoskeleton is bony, hollow bones, which are also known as pneumatic bones, and which are the flight adaptation in them. They are also warm blooded, and fertilization is internal, and On the basis of characteristic laying eggs, they are also oviparous. Examples are pigeon, ostrich, crow, peacock. And now come to the last class of the superclass Tetrapoda, to which we are also belonging, that is class Mammalia. As its name suggests, Mammalia means presence of mammary glands. Presence of mammary glands is one of their important feature, on the basis of which, or through these mammary glands, they are secreting milk for their infants and feeding them in early stages of the development. Skin covered with hair in them. Heart is four chambered, warm blooded, and respiration by lungs. Sexes are separate, fertilization internal, and oviparous animals in this category are also present, which are like platypus, echidna, but mostly they are viviparous, means giving birth to young ones like kangaroo, humans, and bears. With that, you can see that we have covered up the whole kingdom, Animalia, and with this part of the animal kingdom, I have completed this chapter and revised this chapter in a quick manner. You can now, in next class we will start